Why Egypt is terrified of Ethiopia's mega airport city. A multi-billion-dollar concrete titan is rising in the skies of East Africa, and it is sending massive shockwaves straight to the palaces of Cairo. For generations, Egypt believed it held a geopolitical monopoly that no one on the continent could ever touch. But right now, the rules of global trade are being violently rewritten. Welcome back to Semenenya Spotlight, your premier destination for the rawest, deepest, and most hard-hitting analysis of the burning issues defining the Horn of Africa. If you think the rivalry between Cairo and Addis Ababa is just about water and the Nile, you are missing the entire game. Today, we are opening a massive high-stakes file on an all-out economic war. We are exposing why Ethiopia's planned $12.5 billion mega airport is causing intense anxiety in Egypt, and how the Highland Lion is preparing to steal the economic center of gravity from the Mediterranean and pull it deep into the Horn of Africa. 1. The death of the Suez monopoly. For decades, Egypt sat comfortably on its throne, secure in the knowledge that it held the ultimate strategic crown jewel, the Suez Canal. It wasn't just a shipping route, it was an economic superpower. Nearly every major economy on Earth depended on that narrow strip of water. The canal pumped billions of pure cash into Cairo's treasury, elevated Egypt's geopolitical relevance, and gave Egyptian leaders a permanent, unshakable seat at the global trade table. But a brutal new reality is emerging. The battle for regional dominance is no longer confined to the sea. It has officially erupted in the skies. Ethiopia's $12.5 billion mega airport project may look like a standard infrastructure development to a casual observer, but beneath the runways and cargo terminals lies a ruthless, masterfully coordinated plot. This is a bold, imperial-scale attempt to transform Ethiopia into Africa's next great logistics and trade superpower. This exact possibility is why Egyptian strategists are losing sleep. Ethiopia isn't trying to replace the Suez Canal. It is building an alternative economic empire that Cairo has never had to confront in modern history. 2. Weaponizing the skies, burying the landlocked label. For years, global critics and cynical neighbors looked at Ethiopia through a single, condescending lens, a struggling, landlocked nation trapped by its geography. But that old narrative is officially dead and buried. Instead of accepting its geographic limitations, Ethiopia has decided to build completely over them. The strategy is clean, unvarnished, and aggressive. If Ethiopia cannot control the maritime shipping lanes, it will absolutely dominate the movement of people, investments, goods, and global commerce through the air. And the terrifying part for Egypt is that Ethiopia already has a massive head start. Ethiopian Airlines is the undisputed apex predator of African aviation. Its network spans across continents. Its highly profitable cargo operations are expanding at an exponential rate, and its global reputation leaves state-owned carriers across North Africa and the Middle East completely in the dust. The new mega airport is designed to take that colossal success and multiply it by 100. This isn't just an aviation project, it is a declaration of economic independence. It is a loud, undeniable statement that Ethiopia intends to become the central nervous system of African logistics. 3. The secret fear in Cairo, the war for indispensability. Many casual observers completely misunderstand the tension brewing between Cairo and Addis Ababa. The real concern in Egypt isn't that airplanes will suddenly start carrying massive oil tankers or cargo ships. That is not how modern economic warfare works. The real battle is over influence. It is about who becomes the primary gateway to a continent of 1.4 billion people. It is about who attracts the world's largest investment funds, who commands the flow of international trade, and, most importantly, who becomes completely indispensable to the global economy. For generations, Egypt was the only gatekeeper that mattered. If a global corporation wanted access to the world's most critical maritime routes, they had to kiss the ring in Cairo. If global superpowers wanted secure trade flows, they had to secure Egypt's favor. But the ground is shifting. What happens when an assertive, hyper-ambitious regional power in the south builds an infrastructure network capable of attracting the exact same investors, the exact same logistics conglomerates, and the exact same international partners? That is the ultimate nightmare scenario for Egyptian planners. Four, the multi-front assault, building hard power. The $12.5 billion mega airport is not an isolated project. It is the latest strike in a much larger, coordinated, multi-front advance. Over the last decade, Ethiopia has systematically launched some of the most daring, high-stakes infrastructure projects in African history. First came the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD. Despite years of intense diplomatic warfare, military threats, and furious international controversy from downstream rivals, Ethiopia pushed forward and conquered the Nile. Now, right on the heels of that massive victory comes the mega airport. When you connect the dots between the GERD, sprawling new industrial parks, international transport corridors, aggressive manufacturing ambitions, and skyrocketing regional influence, the bigger picture becomes crystal clear. Ethiopia isn't just pouring concrete, it is constructing raw, unadulterated power. And every single major player in the region can see it, especially Egypt. 5. The panic response, defending a crumbling advantage. Officially, Cairo claims that its massive new investments in modernizing the Suez Canal and building up surrounding economic zones are just routine upgrades to improve efficiency. But that explanation is an absolute diplomatic fiction. Nations do not panic spend billions of dollars to defend advantages that they believe are perfectly secure. They throw down that kind of cash only when they hear the footsteps of a heavy competitor catching up to them. The timing of Egypt's sudden logistical frenzy is impossible to ignore. As Ethiopia aggressively expands its economic footprint, Egypt is frantically scrambling to modernize its trade ecosystem, expanding the Suez Corridor to brace itself for the next phase of global commerce. This isn't a coincidence, it is strategic panic preparation. Cairo knows that today's infrastructure blueprints dictate tomorrow's regional balance of power. The nightmare scenario, shifting the gravity south. Imagine the Horn of Africa a decade from now. A colossal, hyper-modern Ethiopian airport handling millions of tons of high-value global cargo. An unstoppable African airline dominating every lucrative route on the planet. Industrial-free zones packed with international manufacturers and regional corridors tying every neighboring economy directly to Addis Ababa. Foreign corporations completely bypassing North Africa and choosing Ethiopia as their supreme continental headquarters. Would this future physically destroy the Suez Canal? No. But it would do something far more devastating to Cairo's ego. It would permanently shift the economic center of gravity in Northeast Africa from the north to the south. For over a century, all wealth, power, and regional influence flowed directly toward Cairo. Ethiopia is turning the map upside down, forcing that influence to flow south. The era of the single gatekeeper is officially over. Ethiopia's mega airport is a power project engineered to make the nation too big, too rich, and too vital for the world to ever ignore. The challenger has arrived, and the regional order will never be the same. This is Semenenya Spotlight. See the facts, feel the fire. We're out.